and then working together, understanding our responsibility towards others, my responsibility towards my family, my responsibility towards my students in the university, my responsibility towards my neighbors, and then my responsibility towards my fellow citizens. So I think here, diversity can play a big role in enriching our experiences and the ways we can utilize in order to fulfill the responsibility of taking care of this earth. And working together as people of diverse backgrounds and people of diverse religions and faiths.
Thank you. And Reverend Richter.
It's not easy to go last. I just want to say yes, 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 and agree. I come to ministry from 12 years in public school teaching and administration. And I come to ministry with this continued passion for learning. And I think the basis for understanding in religious diversity is education. I recently was on vacation and was sitting reading, nothing theological, but sitting and reading, and met some people by the pool who said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm a pastor in the United Church of Christ." And they said, "Well, is that Catholic or Christian?" And I wanted to say, "You haven't got a clue, have you?" I think we have been neglectful in the past 200 and whatever years of this nation in educating people about this beautiful diversity that exists in this country. My denomination, the forebearers of the United Church of Christ, are the Pilgrims and the Puritans that came over on the Mayflower, who came here seeking that religious freedom to enjoy, hopefully one day, that diversity. And it is that mix, I think, that influences, that informs, influences and informs all of life in this nation. And when we don't take advantage of learning more about the faith traditions of our brothers and sisters, we are lacking. And I didn't realize it. When I was growing up, my great-grandmother was Jewish. Came to this country as a young woman and converted to Christianity because at that time that was important. I have a great aunt, her sister, who survived Dachau. My best friends growing up and to this day are a rabbi and a Roman Catholic priest. We called ourselves the God Squad once I was ordained. They went into it far earlier than I did. But I was blessed to have grown up in a family and in a community that welcomed that diversity and enjoyed that diversity and learned from one another. We went to each other's bar mitzvahs and confirmations and Holy First Communions. And I didn't realize how blessed I was to enjoy that diversity until I spent a year as a foreign exchange student in southern Bavaria in Germany, where when I arrived, going through the questions with my family in this small town was, "You're not Catholic?" There was one Protestant church in this city. There were 27 Catholic churches and one synagogue. So I thought, wow, this is a country where that homogenized religion has stayed pretty important. So I learned through that experience, boy, I am blessed to have grown up in this country where I not only enjoyed my own religion, but the religions of my neighbors and friends and family. I was never so aware, again, of how much we need to talk about and share our religious diversity as I was during the last election. When a political candidate's faith tradition is more important than his or her social, economic, and foreign policy, then we're in deep trouble.
Thank you. And, Willkommen zu Bayern. Right now, today, Dr. Richter is going to get to go first because we're going to go to a very specific question in politics. Should the government, I'm going to call on our speakers in reverse order. Should the government of the United States consider the concerns of religious groups when dealing with issues that have ethical dimensions? Reverend Richter?
Can I go last?
No. You got to do that once, now you have to.
People talk about the United States as a melting pot. And I really detest that term. I do gourmet cooking as a hobby. And when you melt something, it melts into one glob. I like to think of the United States as a salad. Because you have different ingredients.
Kombu soup.
Okay, vegetable soup maybe. You have different ingredients coming together, but as you taste it, you taste each ingredient separately. So I think, in answer to that question, I think the government has to hear the concerns of each of their constituents. I think they have to hear the concerns and weigh the choice of what they do, how they vote, based upon those concerns. I don't think it should be... in answer to the question directly, I think the United States government should stay out of everybody's religious bedrooms, so to speak. Ask the question one more time.
Surely. Should the government of the United States consider the concerns of religious groups?
They should consider
when
them,
dealing
yes.
with issues that have ethical dimensions.
I think they need to consider them, yes.
Dr. Islambouli?
I think it goes backwards, which means, going back to my first remarks, if we are as a community know each other well, then we have concern for our, what you call, religious needs. So putting the government aside, as a religious community, so I as a Muslim, do I have a concern for my Jewish neighbor? Or do I have a concern for my Catholic neighbor? And is my Protestant neighbor have a concern for my needs? So as communities, as neighbors, we do tend to the concern of each other. Sometimes, I'll give just one example. When my children go on a trip, school trip, and sometimes I'm the responsible parent, I make sure that, first of all, the Jewish kids in the class of my son, their needs are, made sure they are attended before even the need for my son, although we have sometimes similar needs. But there is a concern as a community, as Americans, we have a concern for our religious needs and also respect for the values that each of us represent. Then as a community, we elect government, we elect officials. And then the government, in return, because it sees that the community itself, the nation itself, do value the religious diversity and do have a concern for the religious needs of each community, then the government itself, will reflect the needs of the people who elected it. And then it will take into consideration the specific needs of its people. So yes, the government has to attend to the needs, to religious needs of its communities, to its people, but this because of what? Because the community itself, the people themselves, attend to the needs of each other. And on a final note, just one note, is that, sometimes, and I share the remarks of, Father Hilinski, that sometimes we look at religion as a taboo, we don't even want to touch that, okay? Because the moment I touch religion, the Jewish person might get upset or the Buddhist person might get upset.